Hi there, how you doing? This is Adam Krause with the Krause and Kinsman law firm. I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on your case. Um, and I will start off this video by saying that the updates that we're going to be giving you on your Zantac case are going to come from these videos. I want to be able to sit down and talk to you like this through video and be able to kind of tell you basically what's going on with the case right now, where the case is going, what the judge is doing, what the depositions are like, what documents are we seeing right now. We've been getting calls in at our firm, and you're asking for updates on your case from some of the caseworkers, and they won't be able to give you a substantive update. What they're going to do is they're going to just give you this video. And so the updates on your case are going to come from these videos because I could sit down and I could talk to you about what is actually happening with the case, with the lawsuit, with the judge, the courtroom, the rulings, all that stuff. I'm going to be able to talk to you about that because that's my job. That's what I'm supposed to be doing, is going to the courthouse, although it's virtual right now. We're doing everything virtually. And I'm the one that's supposed to be taking the depositions and looking at the documents and doing all this stuff. So let's start there. Just to be clear, is that if you call into the firm, my caseworkers are not going to have an update. They're just going to send you this video because this is the substantive update about the case on where we're at, where we're going, and where we've been. So let's start about where we've been. I was sitting in depositions. We were supposed to head to London and take depositions for some of the GSK defendants. We were supposed to head to London. Unfortunately, the Delta variant has gone absolutely haywire everywhere, including in London. So when I was supposed to go there, basically I would have had to quarantine for 10 days, and then we would have spent the 5 days over there taking the depositions. Well, we couldn't do that because that was going to take way too much time, and my office staff would have been quite upset at me. So instead, what we did is I woke up at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and we took the deposition from roughly 3 to, 8 a.m. or so. And we took one of GSK's head chemists, who was the head gas chromatography chemist back in 1979. And I'll talk to you about that here in a second because it was a very interesting deposition. But what we are trying to do right now with some of these depositions and some of our expert witnesses is to basically establish how does ranitidine or Zantac break down into NDMA. And there's certain things that we know about the molecule. There's certain things that we know about Zantac and ranitidine. And the first is that we know that it's an unstable molecule, meaning that it could turn from its current form into something that molds into and comes together to create NDMA. So we know that. But some things that we're trying to learn and discover is whether or not that happens outside of the body or inside of the body. So if you think about outside of the body, we have the drug that is made typically in India, and then it's shipped across the Pacific into the United States in shipping containers or by air. So it could be happening during that transport because it's heated up and then breaks down. It could happen in the manufacturing process when they heat up the product and they put it all together with the other solvents. And then that's then again packaged and sent across the Pacific here into the United States. It also could be happening when it's sitting in your car or into a retailer. But the other method would be inside your body. So when your gastric juices start interacting with the actual ranitidine product, when it was in your stomach, is it breaking down? And that's when it's starting to create NDMA. So some of the depositions were to investigate, discover, and figure out those answers. Some of the depositions were to learn why GSK missed this over the last many decades and why this occurred. And one of the deponents that we deposed in London was one of the head toxicologists. And what I could tell you is that in 1979, 1980, in my opinion, and I think will be the jury's opinion eventually, they were put on notice and that they should have known that this molecule breaks down into NDMA. So that's where we have been. So now let me just tell you where we are. So right now, in this case, we are continuing to do depositions. So on Monday, there is a group of lawyers that we are working with that are going to this is Tuesday, is going to Promico, Mexico, and this is where a lot of the ranitidine Zantac product was manufactured. And we are going to look at some of the working conditions that were there, the manufacturing process, how they developed the manufacturing process, who developed the manufacturing process, and that's where we're going to be spending most of our time next week is in Promico, Mexico. 2 weeks from now, or next week, we are going to be going to Brussels, and there's some depositions that we need to take over there to some head scientists, and some of the pharmacovigilance experts are going to be over there. We're going to then do a second round of London depositions, and those depositions are going to be in person because they have now opened up the UK to people coming over, and you don't have to quarantine anymore. Even though the Delta variant's growing over there still, they decided to open up. I think they kind of gave up. But regardless, we're going to go over there and take some depositions. And that's kind of where we're going. And so we are going to soon start, and I won't go into it too much, the bellwether process and some things like that coming up here soon. But I want to take one step back. So the question is I always get these questions. When is this going to settle, and how much is it going to settle for? Well, when is it going to settle? There's no date. What occurs in these big litigations, what occurs in these pharmaceutical and medical device litigations is that we are gathering information, and we are taking depositions and looking at records, and we're doing all this stuff, and we're doing it all in preparation to try cases. And even if we have a trial, it doesn't mean that GSK and Boehringer Ingelheim and Sanofi and are just going to go ahead and all of a sudden settle. What's going to happen, though, is it's going to put pressure on the defendants to settle. So our goal is to get as many trials out there and set so that it puts the defendants, it's basically pressure points on the defendants. And so we have trials set for Florida, California, Missouri, Illinois, I think, if I didn't say St. Louis, Missouri, I think we may have one coming up in Minnesota. But all of these trials are occurring. The first one is in November of next year. That'll be the first trial in the country that occurs. And I can tell you that the defendant's not going to settle until there's I don't think the defendant is going to settle until there's a trial or anything like that. And it's going to probably take multiple trials. And so we're looking at a couple year process. And I know you don't like to hear that, but there's no, the judge can't compel them to pay money. Basically what has to happen is that there has to be enough amounting pressure or financial liability that the defendant then wants to pay everyone. So our ultimate goal is for everyone to have a settlement and get paid, and that's our goal. That's what we want to have happen. But we have to put in the legwork now by taking all the depositions, and that's the reason why we're flying all over the world right now, is to discover what actually happened, put together a story, and then go try it in front of a jury, and then let the jury tell GSK and all the other defendants that they, that they made some mistakes. So that's the end goal. But when I get a lot of questions in every litigation that I'm in is, when is this thing going to settle? Or on average, how long does this settle? Well, it just depends. Some cases are, quick, a couple years, and some take longer. So I'm going to continue to keep you updated. That's my goal. I want to keep you updated through the process. And I want to share how this process kind of works, because it's interesting, and it applies to all sorts of the big litigations that you are seeing probably in the news, right? So you've probably seen some of the talcum powder litigation. You've probably seen the hernia mesh litigation or other litigations like that. And they all go through the same process. It's we got to develop the case, and then we go and try the case and put the pressure on the defendants, and then the defendants hopefully will eventually then settle out the litigation. So that's where we are. And then I just want to share a little bit more information. I would ask you right now, when seeing this video, if you do have some of your old bottles, or if you have some proof of where you had the medication, or you're storing it somewhere or something like that, keep it stored. Don't get rid of it. Keep your packaging, keep your receipts, keep all that stuff. Eventually, one day, my team is going to call you, and we're going to ask for that information. You don't need to tell us that you have it right now. Please don't call in and say you have it and stuff like that. We don't need to know right now. This isn't the time yet for that, but eventually I will want to know. So keep a hold of that. Keep it in a safe spot, because I want to make sure that I have that. So if you have any of the packaging, or if you have the bottle, or anything like that, just keep it safe. Um, Lastly, again, this is how I'm going to communicate about updates about the case and what's going on, is through these videos. I want you to watch these videos, and again, my staff is not going to be able to give substantive updates. That's my job, and I can't give substantive updates to every client. That's why I'm doing these videos. I want to do them more frequently, so that way you're kind of along for what's happening in the actual litigation. But if your information changes, if you have an address change or a phone number change or anything like that, please call into the firm. Please update my staff. You could also text us as well too, and we'll update your information. But as far as substantive updates for your case, I really want to do it through these videos, because I could spend more time to tell you about what's actually going on in the case. And so I am prepping right now for a deposition that is going to be coming up, and it's a whole deposition about desiccants, these little things that go inside the bottles that are really annoying sometimes. Don't throw those away. Those are actually there for a purpose. What they do is they control the humidity inside of a bottle. And so that's actually something really good to keep inside your medication. If you have those little annoying kind of packaging things, those are to control humidity and moisture inside of a bottle. And so I am going to start prepping for that over the weekend, and we're going to take that depo in about 2 weeks to determine whether or not Sanofi even had desiccants inside their bottle, which I can tell you, based on my current documents, I don't think they did. But that's what we're working on. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. I'm recording this at 4:30 my time. And so by the time we get this out to you, it may be Monday. But I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. I really appreciate you trusting my law firm. You guys are great clients, just absolutely great clients. So I truly appreciate it. Thank you, and have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.